Okay, a couple more examples, just try and help things through here. Sticking with learning activity 8.2. Oh, I've marked this question 8. I don't think that is correct. That should be question 5. We're looking at B and D. Um, Sorry, I'm on my way out for lunch and for the weekend here. I got my boy to take care of this afternoon, so I'm making this a quick one. So what we got to do is for B, right? This is a linear equation. They're telling us that we got to come up with a piecewise equation. Now that it's bouncing, we know it's an absolute value, it's reflected. So there is actually going to be two possible ways we can look at this equation, right? The one is going to be, what if the original line started here in the top left and it was going down in a negative slope form? Where would it hit the y-intercept here? That means the original line would have an equation where the intercept would be -6. So with using the red, that is going to be y would be -3x minus 6. That is one possible equation. If I change up the color, so what if this one started down here in quadrant 3 and was moving in a positive slope in that direction, right? Then that's going to stay the same here, but we are now going to have this line continuing in this way. So for the green line, my equation would become y equals, right, it's going to be positive, so 3x plus 6. Those are two possible equations that it could be the absolute value of. So if it is y equals, the absolute value of y equals -3x minus 6, that means it's going down, it hits here. Once it becomes a negative y value, it's going to reflect and go positive and continue on. So we'd have to show that in our piecewise for this red line. I ended up crisscrossing, I apologize. So piecewise, y is equal to, it's going to be -3x minus 6, or it's going to be equal to -3x minus 6. When is it going to be equal to these two? Right, it's going to be -3x minus 6 as long as we're left of the -2, so as long as x is less than or equal to -2. It'll be the reverse of this as long as x is greater than -2. That is one possible work through with that piecewise. If I was going with the green line here, and I was to move this over here, so this is y equals 3x plus 6. Again, so there's going to be reflection. So again, the green line as it goes south and to the left. So when it's less than 2, it's the reflection. When it's greater than 2, it's going to be what the line showing is. So if we use this absolute value of 3x plus 6, my piecewise for this will be, well, y is equal to 3x plus 6. Or sorry, we should look at the -3x plus 6, right? That's going to be when x is less than -2. And it will be the normal line 3x plus 6 when x is greater than or equal to -2. So there's my possible answers there. So very similar, but there are two possible answers. Moving on to 8D, we have a similar question. So this is what we look at. We have to recognize it's quadratic. We have to recognize it's an absolute value. Now there's two possible ways of doing this. I'm only going to do one just for time restraints. I'm going to look at the fact that where would the original equation that I am reversing be? So I can make it go, right? I can have this would normally continue like so. And it would be normally a negative quadratic that's opening down. There's lunch. And I'm going to be reflecting at the y. Or I could do it the other way, of course. And I'm going to erase these ones here. Right, I can just draw in to help myself out. What if the vertex was at the reverse of this, so at 2, -2, and that was the original equation that I am now going to find the absolute value of. So there's two possible ways. I have this one drawn now, so I'm going to go with this. Right, I got my points, I can do the math, I can come up with what the equation is going to be. And for this particular one, it's y equals 1/2 x minus 2 squared minus 2, because I'm using that as my original vertex. Right now, piecewise, Same thing, I just gotta say, when is it, so using this as my base equation, which is the purple below, when is it above the line, when is it below the line, and do those pieces. So piecewise, because this is an absolute value one, so in the pieces, y is gonna be, the first piece is gonna be, so from the 0, 0 location left, it's gonna be this normal equation, so it's 1/2 x minus 2 squared minus 2. That's going to be when x is less than or equal to 0. Again, I'm going to sit there and skip down below. I got a chunk in the middle, but I know when greater than or equal to 4, it's the same thing. So y so as long as x is less than 0, it's this equation. As long as x is greater than 4, then it's this equation. When it's from the the 0 to the 4, it's going to be the y-axis flip. It's going to be the reflection. So it's going to be negative in brackets 1/2 x minus 2 squared minus 2. Close the brackets, and that's going to be anywhere from 0 to 4. So 0 is less than x, which is less than 4. And I have written the piecewise equation for that as well. So again, if you have an equation, you can extend it and then use that line as the original and continue as normal. So take a look at that, give it a shot, and I am absolutely sure you're gonna nail this question.